Good morning. This is Dan Rutman with Bit by Bit Computing. We're located out of Beaumont, Texas. Today I'm going to give a brief intro to our company and show one of our specialized applications that we do for some of our customers. Today I'm going to talk about software-defined radio, or SDR. This is a fully digital technique and it's fairly inexpensive to get into. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through this PowerPoint that we give to groups and companies and just briefly go over the concepts of SDR. It's a totally non-scientific discussion. You don't need any advanced degree to understand how it works. It's all pretty much software driven, not hardware driven. I'm Dan Rutman. Me, myself, and Sam have founded Bit by Bit Computing. We design and build computers for the individual, not the masses, and we use pretty much exclusively Intel and AMD products and other industry recognized hardware vendors. We design wired and Wi-Fi networks with ubiquity enterprise grade access points and switches. We also do mobile device repair, mainly Apple. We do software upgrades and we do hardware upgrades, and pretty much anything in between. Here's a picture of our home-built server. It's a Ubiquiti security gateway with 24-port switch. It's got a custom Intel Xenon media and virtualization server. It's a Dell R610 with dual Intel Xenons and 48 gigs of RAM. It also features an Eaton, which is an industrial battery backup. And we have a network production laser printer that's wired into the system. Pretty much on the system here is we can run all of our media, we can run our VMs, we can run our backups to the cloud and customer backups. The house is serviced by AT&T fiber, which is a gigabit. It's highly recommended. You get a 5 millisecond ping, which is extremely fast and stable, and you get 1 gig up and 1 gig down pretty much any time of the day. And we have had zero downtime with it. And it's priced accordingly with the other competition in town. But it is the only true fiber from the ground to the pole to the house, and eventually to the fiber ring in Houston. This is a photo of my computer that I have here at the house. It's an Intel X99 high-end desktop rig. You can do 4K editing and scientific applications. This CPU is 5 years old, but it really doesn't show its age. I've not yet had an application that I've run on the computer where it bogs down the CPU, so there really isn't any need to upgrade it until it fails to work. It's an Intel 5820. It's overclocked by 1 gigahertz to 4.3. I could push it a little higher, but it starts to heat up, and it sort of shortens the lifespan of them if you don't keep them cool. The storage media is an Intel SSD. It has no moving parts, and there's a fast M2 drive in there. The GPU is the 390X 7 teraflops. Even though it's 5 years old, it still holds its ground. I can pretty much run any game or video application in 2K at over 100 frames per second. It features 2 water-cooled Kraken all-in-one water loops to help keep it cool. It's an X99 motherboard, so it's a little bit more expensive than your standard product, but it will max out at 128 gig of RAM, which is one of the selling points in this quad channel. It's in an NZXT case. It's called a silent case because it doesn't radiate a whole lot of fan noise and pump noise. There's a whole ton of cases in different price ranges. This is just the one that I picked because I wanted the white on black theme. The power supply is 1,000 watts. The main reason behind that is the graphics card, since it's old, it tends to draw a lot of power. And the decal, the snake, and the logo is custom designed by a gentleman, Daryl, from Custom Vinyl Design. It's a sticks on there. That's something that I did for myself. The customer has a choice of just a plain case or any mods that he wants on it. And it features the RGB lighting for visual effects. The RGB lighting unfortunately injects a lot of noise into the demonstration I'm fixing to show you, so you have to take that into account. What is SDR? SDR is a merger of analog and digital comtech. It uses open source code, i.e. free, small computer chips, and complex signal processing called FFT, fast Fourier transform, as how a MRI extracts a signal for for diagnostic medicine. It's also how you get a signal for an NMR in chemistry. It's all done in the software domain. It has the ability to analyze and decode any RF signal simultaneously with zero coverage gaps. I'll get into that later when I show the demonstration. There's no need to purchase multiple radios. You only need specialized antennas or ones that you buy. Fortunately, on the network, there are a lot of designs for antennas you build. You can take a steel can, a piece of coax, a coat hanger, or you can just buy the OEM antenna. I do a combination of the two. The cost of entry for this tech is about $20. If you want to get into it, you can get into it at that price range. If you don't like it, you're not burning a big hole in your pocket. If you want to get to the level that I'm doing, you need to spend about $150 for an SDR play, which is a wideband receiver. It's not illegal and there's no FCC license required for receiving. Now, if you're transmitting with one, you better have a license. You can spend thousands on pro-grade radio stuff, or if you want a ham shack, you can easily spend 13, 20 grand on antennas, amplifiers, receivers. You don't have to do that here with the SDR. The sensitivity of the two are pretty much the same. You may get a little bit of hardware support or something breaks on a professional radio, but not everyone's going to spend 20 grand to build a ham shack to find out that they don't like it. What can you decode with one of these? Pretty much anything. We use it for AM, FM, and TV broadcasts. Unfortunately, in America, the format's not PAL, so you can't use the tuning sticks to receive a digital broadcast. And you really can't hack the encryption on a satellite feed, even though it is possible for me to intercept it and process it, just that I don't have the decoding algorithm to unlock like an HBO service from cable or satellite dish, but you still can see the signal. The main use is shortwave, which is ham radio, CB, and handheld GRS, which is those handheld radios that families use in parks and on vacation and stuff. You can also monitor aviation and ship communications. You can also listen and receive analog and digital trunking scanners, i.e. the police and fire department and EMS. One of the fringe applications is ADSB, which is monitoring aircraft positioning in real time. That's how your FlightAware software works. And you can use it to get the actual data from the aircraft from satellite feed. That's called ACARS. You can get the NOAA weather radio, and you can actually download satellite images. That's how your TV stations get the weather forecast. You either get it sent to them, or they pull from the sky with a satellite dish. The fringe applications, the one in white is legal. You can hack cellular, keyless entry on a car, and RFID toll badge, and pager hacking. The law says you're allowed to listen to the signals, but you can't act on it. Like, for example, I can sit outside a toll booth, let's say on Beltway 8 in Houston, and I can listen and receive the RFIDs as cars go through, but I can't grab the signal, hack it, and send it back and use it to get free access to the toll booth. That's illegal. The FCC allows you to monitor the airwaves, but you need to be real careful to anything I have in white or red. The most common use for it now in the fringe is radio astronomy. You can actually reposition and activate a derelict satellite with one of these. The public can actually reserve time on the Arecibo Radio Observatory in South America. Believe it or not, you can get a little grant. You can go down there, you can reserve time, and you can use that satellite dish in your SDR to turn on or off a satellite that no one's using. The main application is with this FFT algorithm. I can isolate a single channel, or I can listen to a billion of them at once on my high-end computer. So it is possible to listen to more than one signal, and it doesn't even have to be in the same frequency band. I'm not going to go into the math. It's extremely complicated. It's called a Fourier transform if you want to look it up. The ADSB and the digital scanning, it uses a 1 gigahertz signal that's broadcast from each aircraft, and it mainly broadcasts position, heading, and speed, altitude, and stuff like that. That's how your FlightAware software works. You can use it on your phone, on a tablet, on a laptop, or on the PC. A lot of times when you buy these little SDR sticks, they come out with an antenna. Basically a 6-inch piece of coax, you can make an antenna. You don't have to spend a ton of money. They do have commercial packages that are really cheap that have the antenna, the receiver, the software. Basically, all you do is you plug it in and you turn it on. If you live in an area that doesn't have the beacon, these companies will actually pay you to set one up, and they send you all the hardware. One thing you can do is you can use 2 of these dongles, these SDRs, to listen to police, fire, and rescue. Basically, one's tuned to a control channel, which assigns open channels, and the other one decodes it. A lot of your scanning is now digital, not analog. The standard we use here in Beaumont's APCO 25, and it's on the Southeast Texas Regional Radio, or SETRRS. It's a Motorola trunking platform. It's time-tested, dependable. Before I fire up the video that shows the actual demo of the software running, you have to understand everything we do here is legal. There are no gray areas. Anything not meant for you to hear is encrypted, i.e. police scanners. There are a few tactical channels that show up on the software as encoded and you just don't hear anything. Now, it is possible to go on the web and find these decryption keys, but that is illegal. Or you can just go out and buy a professional radio that has the decryption key built into it. There's nothing that stops you from doing that. The Supreme Court has ruled that it is legal to monitor the airwaves. What that means is if I live in New York, I can listen to the cabbies on their radios, but I cannot get in my car and steal their fare. I can't do that, but I am allowed to listen. Same thing for the police. I am allowed to listen to them, but I can't drive my car and block their access to a crime scene or try to slow down an ambulance or do something stupid like that. If you are transmitting, you have to have the appropriate FCC license. None of my SDRs are capable of transmitting. They cost a little bit more. What I can do is, instead of having you get up and walk around the room, I'm going to put the software up on the computer and you can listen to it. One thing a lot of people don't understand is cellular voice comm is very secure, but the metadata and the GPS is sold to the highest bidder. So you really need to be careful on some of that stuff. Even when they use these Stingray towers, they pretty much are grabbing position and metadata. You really got to do some effort, and you really got to have one hell of a warrant to actually listen to the voice on a cell phone. Now on an old analog radio, yeah, you can do that, but on a digital phone, it's pretty hard to. And you got to remember, any wireless or wired device is subject to hacking, good and bad. Convenience is not always the best and the most secure. Everything I'm going to be doing with this SDR, it's under $300, so you can just sort of imagine what a government can do with this, with an unlimited budget in a room full of hackers and government scientists. So pretty much anything you put over the air is subject to someone else listening in. Any limitation is software related. I would say 90% of the SDR software is free, so you don't have to buy anything. There are some commercial packages. There are very few hard stops with this technology, except for the antenna and the RF theory. And the main thing is, it all depends on line of sight. If the signal can't see your antenna, you can't receive it. Like when I pick up the airplanes, I can't get one flying out of Kansas because with the curvature of the earth, the signal will not hit my antenna. So you have to remember that. Okay, the SDR that I'm going to demo is the SDR Play. It's a wideband RF spectral analysis box, i.e. it covers all frequencies. You can listen in or you can visually monitor. Then on another day I'll show the SDR Sharp software with the dongles, and we'll do the police band scanning and the aviation stuff. Now for the digital software, you need something called the Unit Tracker. It's free, and that basically decodes the digital police frequencies to analog so you can hear them. The ADSB aircraft tracking you can do on an iPhone, a PC, a laptop. Android phone's the easiest application for it if you're not at your computer. And I went ahead and I bought a disc cone antenna, which I'll show a picture of here in a minute. The SDR Play is this black box here. Basically, the antenna screws in on the right side, and a USB cable from the printer plugs in there, and it plugs into your computer. The black box is a ferrite choke, which helps limit noise. Everything inside that's on the circuit board level. There are no tunable or replaceable parts. And you can power it off a solar panel, a battery, or anything DC. And it goes in any standard USB port. An analog radio looks like this. This is a 30-year-old Panasonic I have. The funny thing is it still has a high resale value on eBay because they're extremely dependable. But here you have to throw a bunch of switches, turn a bunch of knobs, turn a dial. This thing's analog. Now, the SDR sticks for decoding the police stuff are these little black USB sticks. They're about 20 bucks a pop. And a lot of them come with little antennas that you just screw on in. This one here is the main feed to the one outside, and this is the little magnetic mount antenna I have. And this is the antenna that's outside. It's called a disc cone because it has a disc part, the flat, and the cone. This will pretty much receive any signal. It doesn't do real good on shortwave because you need a long wire for that, but it does pick up some. But it's great for police, aviation, handheld radios, and stuff like that. The inside of the SDR play, it's a black box. Pretty much your 3, 6, 8 pass filters that filter out certain frequency ranges. It does some digital encoding and some software, and it outputs a signal. Anything more than that, you just have to read up on your own. It's pretty complicated. The LNA is a low noise amplifier. The signal on this thing is very, very weak what it amplifies up. It is extremely sensitive, more so than the analog radio is, unless you spend a ton of money. Okay, next time you go ahead and get the video rolling on the actual radio itself. I will get back with you shortly.